right, welcome to another episode of Timesport on the Beat. So if you're not one of the 10 people who listen to us every week, my name is Fadhli Ishak, and with me today is my colleague Rajan Krishnan from Timesport, the sports desk of NST.
Hi, Rajan here. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to our podcast. And Fadli, I think the Olympics is here. Everyone can feel the heat. I think our athletes have been leaving in batches. How you feel?
Well, I'm feeling a bit excited, but then I'm managing my expectations because, we're still waiting for that first Olympic gold for Malaysia. This time it feels it's come around. I mean, the cycle has come around a bit faster because last time we had to delay. I mean, the Olympics was delayed for 1 year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So it's only been 3 years since then. So basically, most of the people most of the athletes representing us are the same guys from Tokyo 2020, but they're a bit more mature this time. Hopefully, one of our guys can make the breakthrough and win it for us.
Yes, that elusive gold medal. We have always been the bridesmaid for longest time that we can remember. Like you said, it's 3 years. It is a third. It is a 1 year short period, and I would feel that lesser chances of our athletes making the cut to the Olympic at the first place. It's a rush Olympic cycle. The quality, like you said, we have athletes who are much more mature. Some of them probably, this is the time that we have least debutants for Paris.
This is you're right, Rajan. This is the smallest contingent we have had since Athens 2004, 26 athletes, which is the same as Athens 2004. But that's not really something that surprised us. We anticipated this smaller contingent this time, due to maybe some transition periods undergone by some of the sports. Some of the older athletes are moving on already, and then the younger ones are maybe not quite there, but they're on the way. So that's why we have a smaller contingent this time. But Rajan, how are your feelings about the goal this time? Is it going to come?
I think it's coming home. This is the year.
Oh, it's coming home.
It's coming home.
It's coming
home. This is the year, and like you said, a lot of maturity among the athletes. My money is on Azizul. He started with a bronze. He improved to a silver in Tokyo. There's high hopes of him getting the gold in Tokyo itself. We were a little bit unlucky. This time, I think this is a year that I've seen him a lot from previous year. I can see his determination, and he knows this is probably, I think he had said that this is his last Olympics, and he's ready. He's the Asian champ. He holds the record from being the best, the most gold medal win in the Asian Championship. He's at his best equipment. The coach John Beasley have done tremendously well with him, and it'll complete that fairy tale run this guy have gone through, and you have covered him from his formative years and now towards his final Olympics. What do you feel about him?
Well, I think first, just let me give some context to the listeners. If you're listening to this on the day it's being released on the various platforms, Azizul and the rest of the track guys, Shah Firdaus, and Izzah Izzati will be racing over the next 7 days in Paris. So going back to Azizul, as you mentioned just now, he's a lot more mature now. He's 36. He has mentioned that this will probably be his last Olympics, and on paper it looks like that. However, we can never really say. But what interests me is that recently during the bike launch which you attended, Rajan, I think he mentioned that he wasn't feeling any pressure. He wasn't feeling many nerves going into this Paris Olympics. Instead, just excitement. He just can't wait to get the competition started. So I think he already has that level of calmness, that zen that the really big guns have. which will help them handle the big situations. In the Kirin final, anything can happen. There's always the element of luck. Riders can always crash into you. You can sometimes they crash on your own. So it takes a lot of mental strength to consistently perform in the Kirin. And with Azizul, the interesting thing is that in 2022, 2 years ago, he underwent open heart surgery in Australia to correct the coronary artery anomaly, which he has suffered from since birth. So basically, it's a birth defect. So he had been competing with this
For years.
for the whole of his career up to that point. So after the surgery, many people thought he might not be the same anymore. But it turns out it's true. He's not the same. He's even better than he was before that.
It's an upgrade.
Surprisingly, last year's Asian Champs in Ila, he broke his own national record in the 200-meter sprint. And after that, he had a brief scare at the World Champs. Remember that, Rajan?
Yeah.
The schedule was a bit packed, and then
The pericarditis.
Yeah, pericarditis, not mistaken. So it's like inflammation of tissue in the heart or something. Lining, is it? Yeah, I can't remember. So that was nothing serious. It just affected his performance on the day because of the tight schedule. But we don't anticipate the same kind of packed schedule at this Olympics. It should be more spread out. So fingers crossed. Hopefully everything goes well for him there.
As much as the spotlight on Azizul, we do have Shah Firdaus, the understudy. Yes, we know he had horrible luck. There's always someone crashing into him, or he would have equipment failures, crashes as well. Well, when the spotlight is on Azizul, he might step up. He had step up. John, interestingly, have said that he might have some confidence issues. It's not about the lack of ability or how he can perform well, how he had performed well in training. It's just on the race day, nerves. But again, like you said, he is much more matured. All the athletes are much more matured. How do you see his chance?
So Shah, physically, and even John has said, Shah physically is has what it takes to be the best in the world in track cycling. It's just that he has lacked self-confidence a bit over the years. But now he's going to turn 29 later this year. And since Tokyo, he has already achieved a breakthrough individually in major multi-sport competition. He won bronze at the Commonwealth Games, which is a very, very high standard of competition, because besides the Netherlands,
the powerhouses are
all of them are there. And also he managed to win 2 bronzes at the Asian Games last year, individually as well, in the sprint and Kirin. So personally, I'm always happy to interview Shah, because he always has something interesting to say. He's not one of those guys who's gonna just say.
He's not a shrinking violet.
He's not the kind of guy who's just gonna say, I'm gonna try my best and all that. But so it's always nice to speak to him. I really hope he can get an Olympic medal this time, if possible gold. It's not impossible for him to win gold, actually, right? Because he has what it takes. He just maybe needs a bit of luck and that self-belief.
And then the third person on the cycling team, the girl, the pocket rocket woman, the rising star, female Azizul.
Yeah.
And it's very
we're talking about Izzah Izzati Asri, in case you're not you're not aware who Rajan is talking about.
This young lady, one of the rapid rise I have seen in Malaysian sport. She's just 20 this year, and she came into the national camp, national setup a year ago, if I'm not mistaken, almost
2 years ago. I think
2 years ago. And still it's I don't think anyone would have managed to make the breakthroughs so fast to qualify for her debut Olympic in that 2-year period, and she has no experience at all competing at that level. I think the last Asian Games in Hangzhou, that was her first Asian game, and she did tremendous well. She's progressing. I talked to John, and John mentioned that she had put on 10 kilos of not fat, pure muscle. and it shows. It you can see she's the smallest girl on the track, and she's just massively muscular, and she's just that sweet girl still. And what do you think about her chances?
A lot. I mean, I personally thought when I first saw her race in early 2022, it was the national championships. She had just been called up to join the national senior team at that time, and I saw this tiny girl beating Anis Amira Rosidi, who was at the time the number one women's rider in track sprint.
She's so tall and elegant, and
but she was completely like didn't care who she's racing against, and she won. She beat Anis, and to add to my surprise at the time, I think just a few weeks later, she went on to win gold at the Asian Championships in the 500 meter time trial, which caught a lot of people by surprise lah. So I was partially surprised, but still quite.
It's a pleasant surprise.
Quite surprised because I wasn't expecting her to achieve it just a month after winning the national champ from nowhere. Because previously she had been under the Kedah program. I think you spoke to her.
I spoke to her coach
previously.
Coach who was her own aunt, and it was very, very interesting how this. I think she's the only lady coach in Malaysian coaching fraternity. She's the only head coach who's a female. And she's doing tremendously well, and I think she's with more assistance. I think she could easily produce more stars from the state of Kedah. On top of that, she's already have what's that Thai girl?
Pi Kun Pan,
who's a mountain bike star on the making and road. She's competing in the road circuits as well, and her cousin, Izzah's cousin, she won 5 gold medals in the Sukma. Siti Adiba, if I'm not mistaken, her name. And it shows that this coach can do wonders. Woman power, woman empowerment, and the right place, and she producing female athlete. I think Umar Hasbullah also from Kedah, under her also. So this coach, we need to keep an eye on her. She's constantly producing stars for the national level.
So the coach that Rajan was talking about is Kedah's Alfiza Othman, who's also the Kedah head coach, state head coach, and also auntie of Izzah.
Izzah's aunt.
And she's well known for being very active, developing riders and all that. So if you're one of the 10 people listening to this podcast, maybe we can help Kedah out, hoping to see sporting authorities maybe give Alfiza more resources to help her develop more athletes in the mold of Izzah and the many others that she has already developed.
Talking about fundings, that how she managed, she told me she only had 12 ringgits when she went to a competition, and told her girls, we need to win. If we don't win, we cannot go back home because we don't have the petrol money and then the toll money. And her girls went to finish second and third, so they returned that day with 1,700. And she said, we used the money to fix the bike. They only had they were competing in a mountain bike competition, and they only had 3 gears working. And these girls finished second and third, going against girls who probably better prepared, better equipment. So again, shout out for Coach Alfiza. If you guys listening, try to support Kedah cycling, especially Coach Alfiza, who constantly produce result. Moving on, Fadli.
No, I'm not done yet.
No, not done yet.
So Izzah, Izzah's emergence is a huge relief actually for Malaysian track cycling, because after Fatiha Mustafa retired, I think it was 2021 or 2022, there was really no clear air to who could fill in that void. As a rider with medal potential, at least at the Asian Games level and Asian Championships level. But Izzah has clearly filled that void now, and I'm really happy to see her still after 2 years and a lot of media coverage, still looking very hungry, very determined to make it to the highest level of the sport. And recently they got the new WXR bike, the latest version of the WXR Vortec track bike, which is which you covered the launch of that day. What did you tell us, Rajan?
The bike, an improvement. There's a little bit more aero upgrades from the previous edition, the Tokyo edition. The interesting part, Izzah was not allocated. The funds were not for her. There was no expectation for her to do well and qualify. So she got a bike last minute actually, and the two other bikes for Shah and Azizul. It comes with a new colorway. It's our national colors,
The orange
national
colour, yeah.
orange and black color for our contingent color. And for Izzah, unfortunately, they couldn't get it done in time, so she will use the old colorway of black. And then she done her aero testing in Silverstone, including with the package of the bike. They also had their skin suit done, and I think they are ready. They're done their fitting. I think the bike is with them in Mallorca. They're currently training in Mallorca, and they will be heading straight from Mallorca to Paris.
By the time you're listening to them, they already landed in
Paris.
because on August 1st they're going to travel to Paris from Mallorca.
Okay, like I said, moving on to the next other athletes that would have how to say caught the eyes. Who do you see that in Malaysian contingent that would entice Malaysian sports fans to follow their progress in Paris?
All right, so we have to touch on badminton a bit. We can't ignore the giant potential gold medal in the room there. So by today, the shuttlers should be finishing up on the group stage of the competition, if I'm not mistaken. So obviously going into Paris, the main hopes will rest on Lizija, men's singles, Aaron and Wu Yi in men's doubles, and Pearly and Tina in the women's doubles. So let's touch on Zija a bit first, Raja. I think, after he turned pro a couple of years ago, it was a bit shaky start for him. But now, the last 3 months maybe, it looks like everything is coming together. What do you think?
He was under tremendous pressure, a lot of expectation, a lot of criticism. I think he was finding his feet, and it was a massive struggle, a lot of media circus, a lot of social media circus. And it seems that he managed to find his feet at the right time. He speaking to a lot of coaches, a lot of former players on his day. Zija is unbeatable. He has everything to be a world number one, a gold medal winner, not just a prospect, a winner on the day. It seems towards the Paris games, his game is tapered well. Whatever his setbacks, whatever he was lacking, he managed to show improvement. He won few tournaments on the run to Olympics. It's now about maintaining that form heading to Paris, and the mind part of the game. And we still have to, yes, you can play your best game, best of your form, but you still need to look at the giants there, the players from China. We still have the Danish guy there who's the top dog. So it's an element of everything falling into place and everything working out on the match day. Again, he's our best prospect for gold medal there. We have always became, I think the Rio Olympics was a heartbreak. We had 3 attempts of winning the gold medal, and all 3 we end up being bridesmaids. So there's a lot of hope from the badminton fans. They would, I think their hopes are justified. But how you see whether he weather the storm there?
I think he has, similar to Shah, he has the tools to win it. But it all depends on whether he can do it on the day. And if everything lines up for him and he's mentally in the right headspace, I think definitely he can do it. But I know there's similar to any sport, actually, anything can happen.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see him and also the 2 doubles pairs.
Another interesting athletes. These guys are very unassuming. When you don't expect them to perform, they always perform. They were the world champions, world doubles champions, just 2 years back, if I'm not mistaken. And again, they can play any game, anyone. They can take on anyone. They can beat anyone. It's they're that good. And again, any sports you would have a slump. You would lose your form and try to rediscover. And like we mentioned earlier, this is a 3-year cycle for this Olympic. It was bit rush for them, and when after winning the World Championship, I think they were more burden, more expectation on them, and they struggled a bit. After you losing the crown last year, this year, and they started to settle down a bit. I think there's more maturity to their game. They seem to understand well, and I think, like you said, anyone can win and at the day, and these guys have the tools as well.
The thing with Aaron and Wu Yi, I think, is that they have a knack of really pulling off the results in the really big tournaments. Like
Yes.
before this, if you remember, they took a long time before they won their first Masters.
Yes.
Sorry, is it World Tour title?
Yes.
Yeah, their first World
Yes,
Tour.
World Tour
But
title.
and had the odd statistic of having already won the World Championship and Olympic bronze. I'm not mistaken, bronze in Tokyo before they won their first tour title, which is a very strange thing for any pair. But that shows that in the really, really big tournaments, they have the mental strength, and the big game mentality to deliver when it matters. So hopefully this time, third time lucky for them maybe. Oh, sorry, this is second appearance.
Second appearance, yes.
So maybe this time, if they
Another
can do it
big one.
again, another big one. If not gold, maybe silver, one up on before.
And our women's double pair, Coach Rexy loves them. These girls have always their matches are always cliffhanger. You can see always they are fighting, they're giving their best, throwing their body. The rallies are massive. They were a bit unlucky with injuries, and I think the struggle for our coach Rexy Mainaki was trying to keep them fit without injury, and towards the Olympics, I think they managed to achieve that. There were lesser withdrawals. How you rate them? How do you rate their chances?
I think if I'm not mistaken, they have a difficult draw for the group stage. However, when they're paired with bigger teams, the pressure, as I think Goh Liu Ying said, the pressure is on the higher seed ranked teams to deliver. So basically, they're the underdogs in that group. So they always have a chance to fly under the radar and maybe move into the knockout rounds. So I think they also have the ability to go deep into the competition. And we just have to see how they can handle the situation on the day.
And I think the moving on the lesser sports, we have skill sports.
Potong. Let's just stop. I think
Least popular sports.
Okay, just moving on. Bukan lesser sport.
Least
Okay,
popular.
nanti potong tu. Lesser sport tak boleh. Okay, alright. Yeah, so moving on to the other sports, I think another one potential medalist, to me anyway, is Aniq Kasdan, weightlifting. So
Yes.
Aniq is still very young, 21 or 22. And he's already won two medals at the World Championships over the last few years. He's also a Commonwealth Games gold medalist. And he is targeting for the podium in Paris this time. He mentioned, I think we interviewed him a few weeks ago. He mentioned that the target weight he has to achieve is 305 kilos.
It seems that he has the most defined target. I need to reach this. If I do this, I'll be on the podium. It looks as that simple, but again, we know he has prepared well. He's a very young boy. I think he has a good run up as well. He qualified from the World Championship in Phuket earlier this year, February, if I'm not mistaken. So again, on a good trajectory. Speaking to him, he's from small town boy, Gamat, very humble. How do you see? Because we see when weightlifting, you see smaller countries winning, and it's very close when we see a boy, our neighbor next door boy winning it.
Yeah.
This boy gives that kind of vibe, that kind of feel.
Actually, at the Olympic level and the Commonwealth Games level, the Southeast Asian countries are the ones that dominate the lighter weight classes. So, Aniq Kazdan is competing in the under 61 kilogram category, so the body weight has to be 61 kg or under. So, his main rivals will probably be from around our region as well, Thailand and so on. So with Aniq, he mentioned that the target is at least 305 kg to be in a medal position, and I believe that he's already achieved that 305 in training. However, that was probably not at his competition weight. Probably he's a bit heavier, 62, 63 kilos. So the challenge is for him to achieve that when he's at competition weight, 61 kilos. Well, he'll lose a bit of that muscle strength because he's lost 2 kilos like that. But hopefully he can do it because he also has shown that he has that big game mentality. In the really big tournaments, he hasn't choked. He's already won 2 world championship medals. He won the Olympic gold as well. If you remember, he wasn't supposed to. I mean, he wasn't the favorite to win the Olympic gold. There was another athlete ahead of him. I think it was a different country. Class. I think it was from India, I'm not mistaken. But that weightlifter during the final had some issues, and Aniq was able to snatch the win. Pun intended, snatch the win. Okay. So we just move on to another sport now, Rajan. This one, another, I guess you could say dark horse for a medal and possibly even gold. Jonathan Wong in shooting.
Shooting. Again, this is a sport that requires skill. Jonathan have been consistent with his results. He's always in the SEA Games, in the Asian Games. He's always there. Again, this sport requires a lot of preparation, a lot of exposures. Again, like we mentioned earlier, 3 years, there's a lesser exposure, lesser competition for him to participate, to hone his skills better. But at SEA Games level, he's always there. He's always a medal winner. He had even won gold medals before. Who knows, maybe on the day he can gun it down.
I think we have both covered John for a long time already, probably more than 10 years already, and we know that there is no doubting his talent, John. But in shooting, in sports like shooting and golf, and maybe 10-pin bowling, it's always about form. You always see the guys with the hot form. They come into the tournament, and then it's just all them. Even in golf as well, but. Whether John can do that on the day again is the question, because in shooting the margins are very fine. Yes. I think I read that day he was in a tournament and he was just 10 points off behind the number one shooter in qualifying, but that was already enough to see him miss the cut for the next round, for the final. So that just shows how competitive it is. But again, we believe in John. I think he definitely has the experience. It's his second appearance already at the Olympics. And hopefully, he can do it. He himself has said that, he's going to do everything he can to win the gold. He has that self-belief. So hopefully he can pull it off.
We will have 2 sailors as well. Our first, Nur Shazrin, she was our first female sailor to qualify for Tokyo. Unfortunately, she's carrying a little bit injury. It has not been good for her. Hopefully, she can do well. She won the gold medal at the Hangzhou Asian Games last year. She's a huge prospect, but unfortunately, with that injuries, she's not at her best. But who knows? She might deliver something surprise again, like what she did in Hangzhou. And then we have Khairul Nizam Effendi, a senior guy. It was interesting to speak to him. He mentioned that he's at his best career form now. His 4th Olympic, if I'm not mistaken. And again, another hungry guy, another guy who matured.
Very, very experienced guy.
And unfortunately, it's just that sailing is extremely tough sports. We have Europeans, Australians, the Americans who have more competitions and that much a little bit experience on how to react to changes in the weather, in the wind pattern, in the waters. But who knows? He's in the best form. For him he have constantly improved in each Olympics, and I think he's ranked 18, 20. I can't remember, but very very decent rank in the world. I think top 20, if I'm not mistaken, and that itself shows that he's on his best form, and again another guy who can do something there.
Raja, I have to mention another name here. Another potential medalist for us, Dabita Sabri in diving.
Yes.
So Dabita has had a difficult past few seasons, with a wrist injury, and then more recently at the Doha World Champs, I think she injured her tricep, if I'm not mistaken, among other injuries as well. But recently in an interview she had with TV3, I think she mentioned that she's back to full fitness now, and we hope that she can regain that form that took her to fourth place at the last Olympics in the 3-meter springboard individual event, which she will also be competing again this time. So she definitely has the experience. She's 25 now.
Yeah.
She's 25 now. So it would be, despite the results that she's had over the past few seasons, which have been held back by the injuries and all that, I would never write her off because she's very experienced and she's very talented. It's a matter of getting her fit and getting the form back.
I feel the best thing is there's always extreme spotlight on her. This time she qualified through the quota, so there's less spotlight on her. She's extremely relaxed. I think this is the first time speaking to her before she leaving to the games. She's very relaxed. There's no stress on her. Maybe that can spur her to deliver a surprise medal. She could do that.
It's possible, and also she'll have Bertrand Roddick with her in Paris, the young diver who's qualified for the first time for the Olympics. He'll be diving in the men's 10-meter in platform individual event. So okay, Rajan. So we've already covered most of the medal contenders. I think we want to touch a bit on the other interesting aspects of the Paris Olympics this time. This time, thanks to RTG, the Road to Gold program, there'll also be the Malaysia House.
Malaysia House, yes.
So yesterday I was speaking to National Sports Council Director General Rashid Abdul Rashid, and he mentioned that at the Malaysia House, he mentioned that the Malaysia House will actually be done at a hotel near in Paris there. So they'll take up a number of rooms there. So all the Malaysian athletes can come to the Malaysia House, the hotel, and get services. For example, masseuse, physio,
Secretaries,
psychologist, and then nutritionists and their food. So basically, they can get all their rehab, the recovery work done after competitions at the Malaysia House as an alternative option. If
from the Games Village.
If they can't get the same services within the Games Village, because inside the Games Village, the number of
available
the service inside the Games Village, the organisers also provide their own masseuse and physio and so on. But then they'll have to compete with other athletes from other nations for the same common services. So that one has been earmarked as a potential issue. So to overcome that, the RTG program have provided this Malaysia House, which the athletes can also request any specific food that they want. So let's say Rajan wants to eat nasi lemak tomorrow before his archery competition, he can have that. But whether that helps his performance, we don't know lah.
Who knows? Malaysian always strive on food. Who knows? That would be the X factor that could help us deliver that gold medal. Because I think all these were found what might help from the Tokyo Games, from the last Olympics. So this might be the missing link, the missing piece of the puzzle for us to get the gold medal.
basically the RTG program is to give the athletes the additional support they need on top of whatever is provided to them via the podium program. So they get extra training exposure abroad for camps abroad. They get extra equipment. They get extra sparring partners. I think the badminton squad brought in some shuttlers from overseas, from other countries, to train with our national athletes. And then with the Malaysia House, they have easy access to all these sports science support, all the services they need, the massage, physio, rehab, and so on, and also the nutritionist and the food lah. Because obviously as athletes they have to eat healthy, can't eat nasi lemak like Rajan. But hopefully everything, after trusting the process, as people say nowadays, the common term saying trust the process. All the process has been done, Rajan. So we're gonna win gold, not?
Yeah, it's coming home.
It's coming home.
It's
okay,
coming home.
All right.
This is the year that we end the wait for that elusive gold medal.
All right.
Inshallah.
Okay, Rajan. Hopefully we do win that. Rajan, why don't you tell our listeners where they can catch our podcast?
Okay, I hope you enjoyed our sessions. You can listen to the podcast on Audio Plus, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Thanks again. See you next time.
Audio Plus.